The most expensive mistake you can make in life is ignoring what you already know. Not because it breaks you immediately, but because it slowly, quietly moves you away from yourself. In the last episode, we talked about what happens when you finally choose to listen to yourself. The quiet moment when you stop asking for permission and start trusting your own voice, your own intuition. But today, we're talking about the other side. What happens when you don't? There is a silent cost for not listening to yourself. It doesn't always look like failure. Sometimes it looks like stability. You're still working, still showing up, still functioning. From the outside, everything looks fine, but inside, something feels off. That's the cost, not chaos. It is misalignment. Now, imagine someone who knows they've outgrown their environment. They feel it every day in conversations that don't even inspire them, in routine that feels heavy, in opportunities that no longer excite them. But they stay because it's comfortable, because it's a familiar environment, because it's expected. And slowly, they don't just stay in the same place, they start losing themselves. Do you know when you ignore your inner voice, life doesn't punish you loudly, it shifts slowly. You begin to feel less motivated, less connected, less present. Things that used to excite you feel like obligations. You start going through life instead of you living it. Have a personal reflection. There were times in my own life when I knew what I needed to do, clear as a day, but I delayed it. Not because I didn't understand, but because I did not act. And what I noticed wasn't like immediate failure. It was something slower. I felt drained in places that once energized me. I felt disconnected in situations I used to enjoy. And that is when I realized that the cost of not listening to yourself is not always external, it is internal. So let's be real for once. We don't ignore ourselves because we were weak. We ignore ourselves because we fear being wrong. We fear disappointing people. We fear uncertainty. And we fear starting over. So we choose comfort over clarity. But comfort without alignment becomes a quiet frustration. And here's what most people don't talk about. Every time you ignore your inner voice, it becomes easier to ignore it again. You now build these habits of silence. And over time, you don't just stop listening, you stop hearing it. That is where the real danger comes. So now, let's take a deep breaths. Ask yourself honestly, where in my life do I feel misaligned but keep moving anyway? That feeling is not random. That awareness trying to speak. When you don't listen to yourself, you don't just lose opportunity, you lose time, energy, confidence, self-trust. Because every ignored decision teaches you one thing: I don't trust myself enough to act. That's the lesson. And that belief is heavy. Sometimes it's small, you need rest, but you still push anyway. A conversation needs to happen, but you avoid it. Something isn't right, but you adjust instead of you addressing it. Small misalignments becomes a bigger one, not overnight, but over time. And here's the good news. The moment you recognized misalignment, you are not stuck. You are aware. And that awareness gives you a choice and not pressure. It gives you that choice. Listening to yourself again doesn't require a big decision. It starts small, like being honest about how you feel, acting on something you've been avoiding, saying no when it matters, and even saying yes when it feels right. I know self-trust is actually rebuilt through consistency, not perfection. And here's my call to reflection. For this week, write down one thing you've been ignoring. I'm not talking about 10, I'm not talking about 20, just one. Then take one small action towards it, not a full solution, just movement. And my closing reflection is the cost of not listening to yourself is not always visible to others, but you yourself feels it in your own energy, in your own clarity, in your own sense of direction. So please, don't wait for life to force change. Listen early, adjust early, trust yourself early. And this is Michael Speaks. See you on my next episode.